Afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for attending. If I saw someone from ETV was attending in the room next door, I would also go there. So thank you very much for attending. I hope you're in this room for two reasons. One, you generally on the one side of a table where you get a brief from a corporate and you've got no idea what they want. You come up with a great idea. The next moment they introduce you to procurement, who comes, slashes your idea and slashes your budget with at least 10%. Or you in this room today, because you are the procurement person on the other side of that table who looks at that budget and think, man, are we overspending on this event. All right, so my plan today, if I can find the remote, guys. Thank you. All right, so my plan today is to take you guys through the small agenda, which is the current reality, which we face as procurement managers in travel and events and PCOs, the ideal world. Notice not the perfect world, as perfect doesn't exist, so the ideal world, 3 steps to reach this ideal world, a practical example just to add some meat to the bone, and then a small conclusion. Currently, when we look at the travel industry, which includes travel as well as events, we're all at the bottom end of this economic downturn. And we're all facing the reality of prices being too high and shareholders wanting bigger dividends at the end of this year. In result of that, 62% of all companies are reducing their travel spend for this year. Most companies are increasing e-marketing or e-learning opportunities. There's a much bigger increase and focus on tele or video conferencing. And there's a possible 7 to 28% cost savings drive from moving from an A-class supplier to a C-class supplier. And overall in the travel industry, is a section of a lack of transparency. As you can see from this, at the current environment, travel is at the bottom end of its balance. If we look at the reality of a PCO, which is hopefully some of you in the room, most of you will feel that the corporate briefs are inconsistent. Next, the payment terms are there to suit the corporate, even exorbitant to 120 days for a supplier. The company's strategy is ambiguous. For one moment, they want BE suppliers, the next moment they want green suppliers, and at the end, they just want the event. And procurement is out of touch with the market. My favorite saying is when someone tells you the chair should cost you 200 Rand to hire, why don't you buy it? All right. So procurement is out of touch because what would a PCO do with 1,000 chairs in the background? And once again, there's no transparency. Mostly the transparency lacking here is you'll have a brief with your stakeholder and 2 weeks later, once you've hit strong on your idea, procurement would step in and say, I'd like to see all the cost. If we look at the bigger picture, we see the balance of power is definitely against the PCO in this instance, and there's a perception they're getting the short end of a stick. And greatly, this is called lack of knowledge. If we move over to the current reality of corporate, it is ironic that the same balance of power perception is created within the corporate. Most corporate feels that they do not know why they're paying the event company, they're paying too much, and that they're also on short end of a stick. Their biggest concerns is a lack of transparency, the perception of being overbilled, the no value statement, meaning I can do it myself for less money. There's too many role players. There's event companies, suppliers, there's venue hires, there's caterers. There's no spend control in general. And expertise, what expertise are there really? Ladies and gentlemen, that's the current reality from a macroscope and from a microscope of where we're going in the current industry. And what I'd like to propose to you guys today is an ideal world. The ideal world is something which we strive towards, and we put 4 blocks in place to get there. I believe the ideal world should consist of 6 elements in the relationship between the PCO and the procurement manager. There should be an understanding of what value the procurement manager adds, and there should be an understanding of what